可恶的人类！我一定要你们死！
干杯！
干杯！警告！警告！
唯一见不上我们普通血主，就是一念之间，人族4个不行。
这次死定了！
做神灵，完了，他们要是动了，尝尝我的吞噬之力！走，兄弟们，杀！
Hello everyone, welcome to the Alrasta channel. Here, I will share spoilers for SwallowedStar, episode 181. Remember, this is based on the novel, so it won't be 100% similar to the Donghua version. Okay, without further ado, let's dive right into the story. After harboring a grudge for over 3,000 years, Du Yao became an extraordinarily powerful potion master. He continuously enhanced the potency of his potions, all for one purpose: to avenge the death of his 7th older brother, a comrade in arms who had sacrificed his life to save Du Yao from Tuo Lu's pursuit. Since then, even though he appeared to laugh as if he had forgotten everything, the hatred in his heart never faded. Now, finally, his vengeance has been fulfilled. With emotion, Du Yao cried out in his heart that his grudge against Tuo Lu had been settled. However, the battle was not yet over. There remained one most dangerous enemy, Fu Wei-san, the scaled Immortal, who was engaged in a fierce battle against Tai Wo, the leader of the Tai Wo team. With rage, Du Yao once again summoned the 72 ammo plants to attack. At the same time, Luofeng had already prepared the Yanshin blade, his signature weapon, to attack the final enemy. At the front line, all members of Tai Wo's team worked together. The other members of Tai Wo's team launched soul attacks to weaken Fu Wei-san, though their goal was not to kill him directly, but only to create an opening for Tai Wo to defeat his arch-enemy. When Fu Wei-san finally realized that his comrade, Tuo Lu, was dead, he knew that their position was desperate. Now Tai Wo's team had 3 fighters who were as strong as immortal-level warriors, while Fu Wei-san's team had only him left. If surrounded, he knew his life would be in grave danger. In desperation, Fu Wei-san recklessly released his 2 claws, sacrificing 10% of the immortal energy he had accumulated over thousands of years in a powerful explosion. The desperate move successfully sent Tai Wo flying far away, destroying the space around them in the process. Taking advantage of the moment, Fu Wei-san fled 100,000 kilometers away, nearly impossible to catch without teleportation abilities. Du Yao and Luofeng could only grit their teeth as their most dangerous enemy escaped. However, they were aware that Fu Wei-san had paid a heavy price, losing 10% of his energy and soul, with permanent damage that would take hundreds of thousands of years to heal. After collecting all the battle loot, they quickly returned to the C9 ship and navigated back to their base, avoiding the attention of any other enemies that might be approaching. Upon arriving at the ship, the atmosphere was mixed. Victory had been achieved, revenge had been exacted, but many old comrades from the previous Tai Wo team had fallen. Tai Wo urged everyone to raise their glasses, remembering the fallen brothers, including the 7th brother, who held great significance for Du Yao. He recounted the story of his team's struggles over tens of thousands of years, where many comrades had fallen in the fight for this victory. Everyone knew that behind such a great war, there were various motivations. Some wanted to retire after completing their mission, some were ambitious to accumulate wealth, and others simply wanted to die honorably on the battlefield. With a mix of relief and emotion, Du Yao thanked Luofeng for helping him avenge his family. However, unbeknownst to them, danger still lurked. In the control room of the fleeing enemy ship, Fu Wei-san raged in madness. He realized that losing 10% of his soul was fatal and would hinder his power for a long time. However, he still had one final trick up his sleeve. Before fleeing, he had left a special ring in the battlefield, hidden among the piles of human loot. Inside the ring was a weapon marked with his soul. With that mark, Fu Wei-san could track and locate Luofeng's team anytime, anywhere. Driven by burning vengeance, Fu Wei-san swore to kill them all. He immediately planned to contact his allies and other immortals to prepare for his next act of revenge. Fu Wei-san sat on his ship, his claws tapping the armrest anxiously as he tried to think of his next move. Suddenly, his eyes lit up as he remembered someone. Lei Ke, one of the powerful members of the Tunshi clan who was also in the Shattered Star area. Without hesitation, he immediately used his consciousness to contact Lei Ke through the ship's quantum computer. However, he lamented the limitations of their demon clan's communication technology, which was far behind that of humans and robots. Although the demon race was one of the strongest races in the universe, they had almost no access to the vast virtual world that humans possessed. Their communication technology was quite limited. They could only communicate within their own territory and were unable to reach wider spaces. In contrast, humans had a virtual universe that could encompass various galaxies and even other universes. Within it, they could simulate the laws of the universe and communicate in real time without distance limitations. It was no wonder that humans had become the pinnacle race, merging with the automaton race's technology in an advanced communication system that was nearly perfect. On a fragment of a destroyed planet, Lei Ke, a scaly creature and one of the leaders of the Tunshi clan, was enjoying wine and praise with his world master troops. When Fu Wei-san called, the atmosphere immediately changed. Lei Ke answered in a relaxed but firm tone, emphasizing that he was busy fighting in Shattered Star and had no time for small talk. Fu Wei-san immediately reports the bad news. Tuo Lu is dead. Lei Ke, known as a tough leader and strategic thinker, is shocked and becomes serious upon hearing this. They discuss how Tuo Lu, despite being brutal and experienced, could have fallen in the brutal extraterritorial battlefield, where thousands of their soldiers fall endlessly. Fu Wei-san then revealed his intention to avenge Tuo Lu by targeting the human race team that had defeated him. Lei Ke doubted Fu Wei-san's capabilities, asking if he could locate their enemies. With confidence, Fu Wei-san explained his plan. He had hidden a spirit marker inside a space ring discarded during the battle, allowing him to track the enemy's position among the scattered war debris in space. This cunning plan was nearly impossible for humans to detect unless they were scanned at an extremely high level. After that, they discussed the strength of Tai Wo's team. Fu Wei-san mentioned that the team had one Immortal-level warrior and two high-level world masters who were almost as strong as Immortals, including a potion expert and a mental master equipped with Yanshen armament. This combination had allowed them to kill Tuo Lu with ease. Hearing this, Lei Ke was quite shocked. They then discussed the classification and ranks of Immortals, where only warriors at the Marcus and King levels of the Immortal realm were truly powerful and difficult to defeat. However, despite that, there were 3 Immortals of Marcus-level strength in Tai Wo's team, and together with them, Fu Wei-san and Lei Ke acknowledged that their strength was still insufficient to defeat Tai Wo's team alone. Fu Wei-san mentioned that he would not send Lei Ke to his death without a guarantee of victory. He knew that Lei Ke was close to one of the 10,000 hidden Snake Clan leaders named Meng Wei-na, a powerful being said to be able to match a king-level immortal. Meng Wei-na's presence would be a great guarantee for slaughtering Tai Wo's team. Lei Ke, though hesitant, stated that he would try to help contact Meng Wei-na, though he could not make any promises. Fu Wei-san asked him to send Meng Wei-na's contact number and promised that he would give Meng Wei-na his full support later. Their conversation ended with Fu Wei-san's unwavering confidence, ready to begin a new chapter of revenge with the support of the 10,000 Hidden Snake Clan. On the other hand, in the restroom of the C9-class ship, the atmosphere was full of excitement and joy after a big battle. Tai Wo, the captain, confidently ordered his team members to distribute the loot from the battlefield. They had defeated 20 world masters and 1 immortal, earning a lot of valuable treasures. Wei, the team's scanning expert, was given the special task of checking whether there were any dangerous items or traps containing hidden traces of the enemy's spirits who had managed to escape. However, Wei had already scanned the rings and did not detect any traces of spirits left behind. After the inspection, Tai Wo awarded Luofeng and Du Yao, the 2 members who had demonstrated extraordinary achievements during the battle. Meanwhile, Luofeng sat relaxed, enjoying the atmosphere and occasionally sipping the wine they had looted. After dividing the loot, they returned to their base using the C9 ship to rest and hone their skills. Each member reflected on their battle experiences to become stronger for the next fight. However, In one corner of Shattered Star, Fu Wei-san, one of the severely injured immortals, sat alone. His eyes were filled with anger, vowing to avenge the loss of 10% of his soul from the previous battle with Tai Wo's team. He was worried because Lei Qi, his partner who was supposed to contact Meng Wei Na about the collaboration, had not yet responded. As soon as Lei Qi's call came in, Fu Wei-san felt relieved. Lei Ke explained that contacting Meng Wei Na was not an easy task, considering that he was very busy and easily angered when disturbed. However, after some negotiation, Meng Wei Na finally agreed, and the deal was sealed. When the call was made, Meng Wei Na's deep and authoritative voice rang out. Meng Wei Na challenged Fu Wei-san in a harsh tone, questioning why he had to get involved. Fu Wei-san respectfully explained the current situation, warning that there were 3 human world masters, 2 of whom had power close to true immortality, including a potion master and a mental master with a deadly Yanshen weapon. The power of these humans was extraordinary and capable of killing Tuo Lu, one of their members who was at the immortal level. Upon hearing this explanation, Meng Wei Na became interested. He designated Fu Wei-san as an ally, but he refused to allow him to hide anything from him. Hearing this, Fu Wei-san revealed his cunning plan to track the enemy's location using a spatial ring with hidden spirit traces, which could only be detected with exceptional abilities. After confirming the enemy's coordinates within Shattered Star, Meng Wei Na decided that they must not act rashly and wait for Tai Wo's team to leave their territory first. Fu Wei-san nodded heavily, realizing that they had to wait patiently for the right moment. He sat silently, contemplating the need for a strategy and holding back his anger until the opportunity came. Meanwhile, at Luofeng's team headquarters, they had been resting for 15 days, longer than usual. All the members rose with enthusiasm, ready to face new challenges. Tai Wo led the way with an optimistic smile, while Rock and Wei, who were relaxed, also showed their readiness to fight. Luofeng contemplated the future prospects of his team. Although he wanted to hunt enemies independently to speed up the accumulation of military contribution points, he was still bound by the rules to collect points together with the team until they reached a certain limit. With burning passion, Tai Wo ordered the team to return to the battlefield. Their C9 ship launched into the darkness of space, beginning a new chapter of endless bloody war between the shattered star system. In the midst of the shattered darkness of outer space, important news came from Fu Wei-san, the immortal leader of the Tunshi clan. "Team Tai Wo has left," he shouted enthusiastically, breaking the silence in the ship's control room. Seated there were also his 2 close allies, Lei Ke, who had the head of a dragon, and a woman with the head of a rat. They were massive beings who used metal puppet bodies, a kind of advanced device that could be controlled by their consciousness, as their true bodies were too large to fit inside a regular starship. Fu Wei-san declared the urgency of pursuing Tai Wo's team before they left their territory completely. After all preparations were complete, the 3 puppet creatures, Snakehead, Dragonhead, and Rathead, along with the 2 immortals, Q Shi, took off in the ship and shot through the void toward their target. Upon arriving near Tai Wo's team's position, Fu Wei-san reported to Meng Wei Na, the leader of the 10,000 Hidden Snake clan, that the human ship they were targeting had been detected in time and had poor scanning equipment. Meng Wei Na then issued a strict order. The 2 Q-Shi clans would lead the main attack, with a strategy of encircling and mercilessly hunting down anyone who tried to escape. Meanwhile, on Tai Wo's C9 ship, the team members were enjoying some downtime in the rest area. However, the atmosphere grew tense when the ship's detection devices alerted them to the arrival of 5 unknown figures. Luofeng quickly observed through his devices, realizing that their enemies this time were no ordinary foes. They were facing 3 high-level demon race puppets and 2 immortal Q-Shi. These were extremely powerful and dangerous opponents. The tension peaked when the ship was suddenly attacked with a powerful force that tore the ship apart. All team members quickly donned their armor and prepared for battle. They came out in a battle formation, their faces turning serious as they faced a real threat. In space, Tai Wo and his team came face to face with Fu Wei-san and his army. Fu Wei-san glared at them with contempt, grinning and issuing a deadly threat. Shortly after, 2 massive creatures emerged from the shadows. one resembling a dragon and the other a spiked-tailed beast with a rat-like head. Despite their cute eyes, their gazes were filled with savage intent to kill. The atmosphere froze. Though Tai Wo's team was strong, the sheer number and power of the 5 immortal enemies made everyone's hearts race with unbearable tension. All team members from Tai Wo, Du Yao, Wei, and the others turned pale. Only Luofeng remained focused, staring at the demon puppet with a snake head, realizing that this fierce and decisive battle had only just begun. In that fierce battle, Tai Wo and his team were almost out of hope. They were surrounded by 5 powerful immortal enemies, including Meng Wei Na, the leader of the 10,000 Hidden Snake Clan, who was greatly feared. A gigantic green serpent with horns, stretching tens of kilometers in length, suddenly appeared, spreading a bone-chilling cold that penetrated over 10,000 kilometers, freezing the entire battlefield into a sea of ice. Tai Wo knew this was truly the end for them. Even so, their determination did not waver. Tai Wo, Du Yao, and all the team members were ready to risk everything to drag one enemy to the grave with them. They knew this battle would determine whether they lived or died. Then, at Meng Wei Na's signal, all the enemies unleashed the tremendous power of the domains they controlled, rushing at Tai Wo's team from all directions. However, what happened next shocked everyone. Luofeng suddenly appeared and released hundreds of golden vines that slowly grew into giants. Rare and extremely powerful immortal plant lifeforms. With sharp golden leaves, each one spanning hundreds of thousands of kilometers, these plants enveloped the battlefield like a shimmering sun in outer space. In an instant, a swarm of giant star-eating plants surrounded and gripped the immortal enemies with terrifying force. The shriveled leaves slashed and tore through their defenses, breaking their bones and muscles, swallowing them in a deadly darkness. Some of them chose to destroy themselves as a shortcut to avoid further suffering, but these immortal star-eating plants were too powerful to be easily eliminated. And boom! The 4 immortal enemies died, wrapped in golden leaves, swallowed alive by Luofeng's extraordinary natural power. Luofeng was both shocked and fascinated by the power of his star-eating plant. He knew that killing immortals alone would grant him an extraordinary amount of contribution points, and slaughtering 4 immortals had earned him hundreds of millions of points, though the ultimate goal he had to achieve was still extremely high, around 1 billion points. However, one enemy remained, Meng Wei Na, who was far stronger and had not been suppressed by the giant plant's attacks. The massive green serpent's body fought with extraordinary power, even capable of repelling the spatial law attacks released by Luofeng. Meanwhile, amid the cold and icy atmosphere, the 2 warring factions felt the weight of this battle. The real threat from a great power, burning determination, and a fight for life and death had reached its peak. In the midst of a fierce battle against Meng Wei Na, leader of the 10,000 Hidden Snake Clan, the atmosphere was extremely tense. Meng Wei Na continues to spin with his giant tail, spewing out laws of space to spread dangerous golden leaves around him. However, the attack is not enough to free him from the star-eating plant controlled by Luofeng. With madness and desperation, Meng Wei Na sends out a distress signal, hoping that his allies will come to his aid soon. News of this fierce battle spread quickly among the demon race. Though the immortal star-eating plant was considered deadly and dangerous, many demon warriors underestimated the threat, even mocking it. However, from afar, 7 demon teams rushing toward the location proved that the threat was serious enough to warrant their action. Inside their ship, the team leader, Cocoon Wolf, Immortal Marquis, expressed his belief that the human genius with the star-eating plant at the immortal level must have a powerful background. Killing him would surely bring a great reward. Meanwhile, Meng Wei Na was fighting desperately against the star-eating plant. Luofeng observed the battle and realized that the 100 star-eating plant stocks he controlled were only enough to hold back an immortal at the Lord level. Meng Wei Na, however, was far stronger and would require effort and time to defeat. Making a swift decision, Luofeng donned the soldier armor of the Flame God clan, which emanated physical strength, 1,000 times that of an ordinary world master, and prepared to fight to the death. Wielding a blood-tipped silver blade and the Beast God armament shield, he charged toward Meng Wei Na at a shocking speed that even startled Tai Wo and the others. The battle intensified as Luofeng faced the giant snake leader head-on. Meng Weina unleashed ice and spatial power to hold him back, but Luofeng countered with an extraordinarily large and powerful internal world projection, capable of shattering Meng Weina's domain of law. In an instant, with unparalleled speed and power, Luofeng sliced Meng Weina's body in two. Though severed, the colossal body remained alive, but the golden leaves of the star-eating plant swiftly wrapped around and devoured both halves, tearing and shredding them without mercy. After the brutal battle, the star-eating plant, which had initially been a giant, shrank and flowed back into Luofeng's body while the other members were still stunned by his extraordinary ability. Luofeng simply told them that they had to leave immediately before reinforcements from the demon race arrived. At high speed, Tai Wo's team immediately boarded the C9 ship and sped away from the battlefield, preparing to face the next challenge in this unfinished war. After the 7 elite demon race teams arrived at the battlefield, all they found were the ruins of destroyed ships. Meanwhile, Tai Wo's surviving C9 ship was speeding through space. In the rest area, the team members exchanged glances, some turning to Luofeng, who was engrossed in a discussion with Babata. Luofeng asked how many contribution points he had accumulated. Babata replied that the total had reached 1.461 billion points, enough to free him from the restrictions of forming a team. Tai Wo then initiated a conversation, expressing his admiration for Luofeng's ability to defeat an immortal-level enemy like Meng Weina with the combat techniques of a true warrior, not just an ordinary mental master. Other team members, such as Poison, Rock, and Wei, also acknowledged Luofeng's extraordinary strength and compared him to the strongest warriors and generals of the other world masters. Luofeng then addressed the entire team, expressing his desire to undertake missions in the extraterritorial battlefield independently. He emphasized that the 1 billion points he had earned did not automatically mean he wanted to stop. Other goals and missions awaited him. Though it felt heavy, the team members accepted his decision and understood Luofeng. Before parting, Luofeng distributed the world rings, loot from killing 5 immortals, to his friends. Though the items meant little to him, they were invaluable treasures to the team. They rejoiced at the enhanced scanning capabilities of their devices thanks to the gift. In a casual yet meaningful conversation, Tai Wo explained the contribution point tiers earned from killing immortals of various levels, from Lord to King, whose numbers were enormous and served as a major motivation for Luofeng's mission. With farewell greetings and hopes of meeting again in the future, Luofeng left the C9 ship. Shortly after, he deployed the Yunmo F9 ship, launching into space to begin his true adventure and battles in the extraterritorial battlefield. In the end, Luofeng went solo leveling, guys. The true journey has now begun, a new chapter in the challenging struggle within the vast, unforgiving universe. So what happens next? Alright, thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to support this channel with likes, subscribe, and comments. That's all from me. Bye.
就是一念之间，人错4个不行。这次定了。赵神灵，完了，他们要是动手，尝尝我的吞噬之力吧！兄弟们，